If you served in the military, your DNA is on file somewhere. All right, I know mine is. I was heavily, identified with fingerprints and DNA. So 85% of the people watching this video are probably on that database as well. And if you're not, then you probably have a relative who will, if they're on the database and they get a couple of hits, that's enough to get close enough to you to reel you in. Hello everybody, Terrence Pop with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today we're gonna go over a little bit of a political topic. Everyone seems to be going berserk over these bombs, pipe bombs, what have you, that were sent out in the mail. All right, so I've seen some of the pictures of what the media has told us, which I take with a grain of salt because, let's face it, I have been overseas, I've seen things happen on the ground, and then 2 hours later, I have seen them reported on the media completely different. So, with that being said, I'm just going to talk about what I think about this, from my evil genius kind of mind. All right, so far, as of the 25th of October, they found roughly 25 of these bombs. Some of them apparently went through the postal system, and some of them were not. Basically, the stamps were not canceled stamps, meaning that they weren't stamped or they're in processed into the post office. So what does that tell me? That tells me that some of them may have been delivered by hand if they did not go through the actual postal system, which makes it easier to find people because there are cameras everywhere and now they have facial recognition software. Okay, and another thing. So some of the media sources, especially the ones from overseas that are a little more credible, said that the bombs were not built properly or had major or minor flaws. Okay. Now, I have some experience dealing with some shit like this, and I know of the components that are available out there or can be made roughly in someone's basement or in a workshop that are very hard to detect, are relatively lethal out to about 3 or 4 feet, and would have a much greater chance of success than this bullshit that we're seeing here. Now, do I think it was some kind of right-wing, conspiracy to send all this shit out? No. But we do have a bunch of fucking fruitcakes out there that, are capable of doing just about anything, Jesus Christ. All right, so let's see. From what I saw, they look like pipe bombs and just a bunch of bullshit to make it look scary. I could be wrong. Tomorrow one could detonate. Who knows? But from as it stands as of today, I'm not really seeing it. Also, some of the addresses were misspelled. They were printed up, put on the envelope, and then taped over. Okay, now what does that tell me? All right, since they did not explode, I can almost guarantee you that those packages are going to go to a crime lab, either the FBI or run by the NSA, or some of the larger departments have the capability of coming close to those bigger government labs. But they're going to micro vacuum basically the inside of those envelopes, and if there is so much as one piece of hair or any cells of skin that fluffed off the individual who put that together, they're going to find it, they're going to culture it, and they're going to get the dude's DNA. They're going to do the same thing with the tape. Okay, they have a way of cutting the tape up and submerging it and then, you know, doing basically, you know, either copying or growing the DNA in there. And then they just, you know, back out all the stuff that's supposed to be there, and then whatever is not, they're going to basically run that against the national, you know, DNA fucking registry. And if you think you're not on there because you're not a criminal, you're fucking high. If you served in the military, your DNA is on file somewhere. All right, I know mine is, you know, for, you know, of shit I've done in the past with the service. I was heavily, you know, identified with fingerprints and DNA. So I know I'm in that database. And chances are 85% of the people watching this video are probably on that database as well. And if you're not, then you probably have a relative who will, you know, if they're on the database and they get a couple of hits, that's enough to get close enough to you to reel you in. I'm not going to go into any more detail about the types of materials that can be used, because that kind of information is really fucking dangerous, and you can get most of it from the poor man's James Bond, the new abridged version, and the anarchist cookbooks. They're out there too. On those ones, get the older versions, because the newer ones have been tampered with and some of the formulas have been fucked with. So if you were to do that shit, it would probably blow up in your face. In fact, it probably would. Just saying, you know, just some knowledge out there. Let's see. All right, I've noticed how, like, everyone's pointing the finger and blaming everybody. You know, everyone's blaming Trump for his rhetoric and all of the horse shit. All right, listen, yeah, I am not a fan of Donald Trump. Okay, I didn't like his TV shows. Personally, don't like his attitude. But the way he's handling the office of being the president of the United States is, in my opinion, not business as usual, and we so need not business as usual. And this is causing a lot of issues, especially with the left, whose platform revolves around identity politics and immigration and, you know, other bullshit platforms which really are not going to advance the United States. I'm sorry, it's just not going to do it. And, you know, it's, I don't know, I think this might be some kind of smokescreen to throw up before the midterms. It's either orchestrated or it's been orchestrated by a small group of individuals who are actually not part of the political process but want to influence it in some way. And the definition of terrorism is when you do violence or threat of violence for political ends. There you go. So this definitely falls into the realm of terrorism. Chances are they are going to find somebody, or let's say, if they really wanted to find out who did this, they could do it. All right? They have the means at their disposal. That's just my opinion. Now, if there wasn't any DNA left on these packages, that only leaves us with really one outcome on this, is that they were professionally assembled in a clean room, which is relatively hard to assemble, but it can be done with some basic shit that you can buy at Home Depot. And duct tape, plastic sheets, you can put on the complete body painter's uniform, cover your feet, duct tape, the seams, and then, the computer you're going to use, the printer you're going to use, the tape, everything you use goes into the clean room inside a garbage bag. It is unwrapped in the clean room. Everything is used, and when you're done, everything is destroyed. And then what your end product is, sent where it needs to be sent. That's typically how that would be done. Not that I know anything about that or anything. I'm just saying. Now, the next, 10 days-ish until the midterms are going to be pretty crazy. This is actually going to wind up being one of those stories that is going to be used against the Republicans, and that in you know, the wave of immigrants, you know, coming up from Mexico, which I will address later. But again, you know, keep your eyes on the prize. This is basically smoke and mirrors. You know, nobody's dead yet. And the same thing with the caravan of illegals coming up from South America. Smoke and mirrors. It's a diversion. It is what it is. Another thing about these pipe bombs is, I mean, when I looked at the picture, I'm just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. You know, this is insane. It also has the illusion or the look of intimidation to me. Like somebody threw these together, knowing they were bullshit, but just sent them out there to fuck with people. Got it. All right. I mean, it's fucked up, but it is what it is. Oh my God, my head is just swimming with possibilities in this bullshit. Could it be one guy? Maybe. Slim. Could it be a small group of individuals, 3 to 10 people? More than likely. They could easily pull this operation off and then time it so everything would hit about the same time. Alrighty, well, that is my take on the fucking pipe bomb fiasco that's going on, and we'll see where this goes. You guys take it easy.